Welcome back, Truth Seeker. In the last 48 hours, a lot of people have asked if I could do a decode on Prince Harry and Meghan Markle making their big announcement about stepping back from duties with the royal family and spending part of their year overseas in North America, where Meghan Markle's from. If you're new here, I've been showing how the royal family operates by a Masonic code of letters and numbers known as Gematria. London, the birthplace of modern Freemasonry, and the royal family, absolutely Masonic. So, for years, we've shown how everything from the assassination of Princess Diana to royal births to royal weddings to everything about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle is done by this code, and it's undeniable when you know the code, which is as simple as ABC 1, 2, 3. So what I'm going to show you is how a number of stories are synced up with this announcement on January 8th by Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. It has everything to do with race, and it has everything to do with all the key members of the royal family's birthday, including Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, Prince Charles, Harry's father, and Queen Elizabeth. Again, Princess Diana's not here. She was offed by the code, synced up with the Queen's birthday once upon a time, all of which is covered in my book and a whole lot more. So anyhow, January 8th, the day of this big announcement, a date that can be written 8/1 as it is in the UK, or 1/8 as it is in the US, like 81 and 18. Duchess of Sussex, the title of Meghan Markle, equals 81. The word ritual equals 81. Go back to the headlines from August 1st, 2018, and type in the number 81 and you'll laugh. There's so many stories with 81, including Obama endorsing 81 candidates. 81. What we often call the ritual number. So this ritual has everything to do with race. Race in 18. Talked about this many times. The 18th chapter of my book is actually about how the media uses the numbers of race to purposefully divide the people of this world. And that's what this story is ultimately about. Meghan Markle, Prince Harry being used as symbols to maintain the ideas of division in relation to race. Here's an article from the time of this. Black Britons know why Meghan Markle wants out. And think about how they're Brexiting at the time that Brexit's being done by the numbers. I'll bring up a point about that in just a moment. But let's go back to the engagement of Meghan Markle and Harry. That was November 27th, 2017. That was the day it was announced. And what's interesting is from that day to January 8th, the date of their latest announcement, the somewhat of a departure from the royal family, it's 773 days. And that's a special number. That's the 137th prime number. And remember, 137, very, very significant. Words such as authority, government, sum to 137. It's the 33rd prime number, a number that's associated with divinity. Again, in Hebrew, the word Kabbalah sums to 137. In Kabbalah's Book of Formation, it's stated that God created the world with letters, numbers, and words, which is where this practice of Gematria comes from. But anyway, from the engagement to the big announcement, 773 days, the 137th prime. This is all about the royal family and things going different than they typically do. You know, as far as I'm aware, this is a very white family historically, so Meghan Markle, different. And now you have, this pressure from supposedly racism. We're going to get to the March 7th story where the news really got going that Meghan Markle was, feeling all this pressure and negative feelings from all the racism that they were getting through social media. So anyhow, from the Queen's birthday to this announcement was the 263rd day of her age. That is the 56th prime number. And from Charles' birthday to this story was his 56th day of his age as well. So 263 days from the Queen and 56 from Charles. And again, 263 is the 56th prime number, and royal family also sums to 56. It sums to 137 using the alphabetic order. It sums to 56 using the alphabetic order, but incorporating the rules of numerology. So to come back up, you notice like R is the 18th letter, O the 15th, Y the 25th, so on. Down here, you're just using the numerology. So instead of R being the 18th letter, it's the numerology of 18. 1 plus 8 is 9. Instead of O being the 15th letter, it's the numerology of 15. 1 plus 5 is 6. Y the 25th letter, 2 plus 5 is 7. A's 1 because A's the first, L's the 12th. 1 plus 2 is 3. So on. You're just using numerology. So royal family also has this 56 connection. So right away, you just got to say, well, wow, how perfect. How perfect. Then from Prince Harry's birthday to the announcement, 115 days. His full title, Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, 115. Remember, Masonic equals 115. Special number there, 115. And from Meghan's birthday to this announcement was 157 days. She's from the U.S. United States equals 157. We've often talked about her August 4th birthday, 84. United States of America, 84. Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, 84. Masonry, 84. Very special number. Think about Orwell's 1984. So on March 7th, there were a lot of headlines like this. This news really took off on March 7th. The racist online abuse of Meghan Markle has put royal staff on high alert. And there have been a lot of rumors since then. Again, March 7th. From that day, let's do this first. From that day, March 7th, to the announcement January 8th was 307 days. Remember, that's the 63rd prime number. Special relationship. The word Freemason in Jewish Gematria equals 307. The term Freemasonic has the Gematria of 63. But notice, from the day of those stories to January 8th, 307 days, the 63rd prime, the name Meghan Markle 63, the name Prince Harry 63, racism is 63. And all this pressure has put this strain on the family and caused division, and now this is the latest. And again, people who live vicariously through the news stories, through celebrities, they start making the realities of these people their own. And again, this is how societal patterns and beliefs are maintained. You know, there's always focus put on race by the mainstream media because they want us to think in these ways. They keep us divided, fighting amongst ourselves over silly things. So down here in this BBC article, remember BBC is 223, BBC 223, Masonic is 223 in Jewish Gematria. And just in case you're new here, just to show you something about the BBC and this code of letters and numbers, when you run the alphabetic order in reverse, BBC is 74. When you use the alphabetic order, Masonic is 74. English is 74. Gematria is 74. This practice of coding numbers into words. The modern home of Freemasonry is London. London 74. Again, very special number. To the Freemasons, free is 74. Holiday is 74. Independence Day is 74. Think about that between, again, the United States and London, England, and Masonry. Remember, Independence Day sums to 74 like holiday. Our Independence Day is July 4th, 7-4. And again, the 277, that's the 59th, the website's down. This is the 59th prime number, though, if we can get it to work. Here, we can just go to numberempire.com. If you're ever having that problem on Gematrinator, sometimes his website hosting is down. If you go to Number Empire and type in a number 277, you can see it's the 59th prime number. And that matters because Freemasonry sums to 59 in Hebrew and in English. And remember, modern Freemasonry began in London in 1717. 59 is the 17th prime number. Just type in 59 real quick so you can see this. 59 is the 17th prime number. Modern Freemasonry began in 1717, and then 59 years later, 1776, America established by nations. And now we're talking about Prince Harry of the UK and Meghan Markle of the US. Anyhow, coming back to this story, the BBC, which again is 74, like Masonic, and again BBC, the letters are 223. There's a cipher known as Jewish Gematria. The way it works is taking the old order of the English letters when they were in the Latin alphabet and assigning a little bit different numbering values. It's more of a tribute to Hebrew Gematria and Greek isopsephy. But anyway, 223, which is the 48th prime number, and in Hebrew and in English, Freemason also sums to 48. So again, all of these numbers are cleverly thought out. Prime numbers are really important. Coming down to this story where the BBC emphasizes major rift, again, anytime mainstream media, which is controlled by Masonry, emphasizes words because there's gematria behind it. Major rift sums to 61, like royal family also sums to 61. Again, you get rid of Jewish Gematria. There's 4 base ciphers. You want to know all 4. Royal family with the alphabetic order 137, with the alphabetic order and rules numerology 56. And we talked about these numbers at the beginning. The relationship between the engagement and the news, 773 days, the 137th prime. We talked about the relationship with 56 and the Queen and Prince Charles. We did not talk about 160, but now we're going to talk about 61, which is the 18th prime number. Remember, race equals 18, and the date could be written 1/8. So major rift 61, like royal family. Again, story January 8th, the major rift. Major rift also sums to 47, like the 47 degrees on the Masonic compass, in tribute to the 47th problem of Euclid, a Greek mathematician. Anyhow, 47, the reflection is 74, another special number. Remember, the Masons' compass in square with the capital G in the middle. They're tributes to God, the grand architect and master geometer, and to sacred geometry, which is, again, part of occult knowledge, which Masonry is based in, just like Kabbalah and Gematria. All these old, simple, secret teachings that they use to perform their rituals and rites. Anyhow, major rift, 47. Notice sacred geometry sums to 68, mathematics 68, grand architect 68. Again, the compass, instruments of geometry, sacred geometry, set at 47 degrees. With regards to sacred geometry, it also sums to 158, like Freemasonry. And again, remember, this entire event is centered truly on Meghan Markle. And as we said, it was 157 days after Meghan Markle's birthday. Or, if you count the span of days, see how it says, but not including, if you include, it becomes 158 days. 158, 158. And that's a big number with the Jesuits as well, because they were formed in France on August 15th, 15/8. A lot of history with the Jesuits and the Freemasons and the Bavarian Illuminati, also 1776. But anyway, the word Jesuit does sum to 84, a lot like Meghan Markle's birthday. So that is another piece to think about in terms of how all of this is being orchestrated and who's responsible. Freemasonry, absolutely a major hand, but I suspect the Jesuits are probably somewhere in this as well. Again, Washington, D.C., once controlled by the Jesuits, now named after the Scottish Rite Freemason George Washington. The Scottish Rite shares the 32nd, or the Scottish Rite's 32nd degree shares a motto with the Jesuits. Anyhow, powerful secret societies, again, all practicing by this ancient knowledge that is forgotten to most people. And I think those are the main things I wanted to share. I also noticed that from the day of the wedding, May 19th, 2018, to the date of the departure, January 8th, was 599 days later. which is the 109th prime number, and then 109 is the 29th prime, and Masonic's 29. There's probably something else to the 599 days in the 109th prime relationship that I'm overlooking. But honestly, I've spent more time presenting this than I did researching and decoding. Again, for people who are new here, again, just because I've shown so many examples of the royal family and operating by this code and even predicting, the name of the royal baby years ago, Victoria, before she was born. It's just, I just know that I'm going to look at it and everything's going to line up because this is what they do. So there's a lot more research and work that can be put into this, but I see the main nuts and bolts of it. And again, I will give it some more thought because there's always more to learn and know. There might be something to 599 that I don't understand, but I do see the Masonic prime number relationship, which is probably a big chunk of it. So, and one more thing before we go. Just coming back to this March 7th story, pointed out how this March 7th news about her, feeling all the pressure from this racism, it was 216 days after her August 4th birthday, and that's a number we talked about a lot with her up to this point. She's born on August 4th, the 216th day of the year, just like Obama, just like Lori Lightfoot. And again, the name Meghan Markle equals 216. So she's born on the 216th day of the year, her name 216. And that's not her birth name. Her real first name is Rachel. So there's a reason they call her by this Meghan Markle. And remember what 216 is. It's the product of 6 times 6 times 6. 216. Also, March 7th, the day of this news, written 7-3 in the UK. United 73, Kingdom 73, Rachel Markle's 73. And again, her 8-4 birthday, so... Learn the code, see through the mainstream headlines, especially with the royal family. And oh yeah, one more point I wanted to make about the 158. Don't forget the current Prime Minister of the UK is Boris Johnson, whose name is 158 and 59, just like Freemasonry. 158 and 59. And remember, from when Theresa May took office to when Boris Johnson took office was exactly 158 weeks later. And notice the 58 and 59 in Freemasonry. London, England, the home of modern Freemasonry, also 58 and 59. In 1717, 59 years later, 1776. Couldn't really all be a coincidence. Example after example. And again, anyone can prove it. That's the thing. This is work that anyone can prove. I go into every decode with total confidence that it's all going to be there. And again, I mean, 6,000 videos, 30,000 blog posts later, it's just self-evident. How could all this be a coincidence every single time? Talking about the exact same things. I mean, you think it's an accident that I put out a book that's nearly 2 years old and I made the 18th chapter about race and how this number is used in these exact type of rituals, and then with the royal family, 2 years later, you get another prime example on January 8th. Not a chance. And again, if you read my book, you'll learn a whole lot about Princess Diana's death. Couldn't have been any more Masonic royal family ritual. So we'll leave it there, Truth Seeker. Don't forget to hit the like. Until next time.